he is here. So, actually, matter of fact, I had him since last year. So, it's Dustin Ludke is on Safe or Trap. So, let's welcome in as the first show or 25 minutes. How are you doing, my friend?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. As a matter of fact, when I first had you on my show last year, because I actually showed you what my survival pool sheet was, you actually said I actually did really great because that was the
Yeah.
first time I actually played survival pool.
Hey, I mean, sometimes it's beginner luck. I mean, some people are just good at this kind of stuff.
Exactly, because the funny thing was I didn't understand how the game was, but then as I got through it, I was like, oh, okay, this piece of cake. I just got to pay attention, like what's going on and stuff.
Yeah, survivor pools are really for people who like to pay attention and plan because sometimes where you don't want to necessarily use the good teams right away. You kind of want to pick your spots, but you don't want to save them too long where all of a sudden you just haven't used them. So we'll get a little bit of this week with matchups, but I think there's some strategy to it. So, obviously everyone says, play teams that are, pick teams that are playing bad teams, which is totally fine. I think it's just a matter of, finding your spots.
Exactly. Now, I did. Now there is a secret that I did this year because I'm going to tell. I think I told this last week. So when playing Survivor Pool, you want to save the great teams. You know what I mean? So like, in other words, just think of it as imaginary. So like, don't even worry about those. Focus on the teams that's like the Arizona Cardinals, the Patriots. Vice versa. That's how I would tell everybody about that. And then you also sometimes you don't want to rely on the point spread because point spreads can be misleading. So I look at the money odds.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely a way to do it, right? Vegas people get paid to be right with the point spread. So a lot of times it's implied point totals, but the money odds are the way it's at because that's where they're leaning because they want to be right. They make money if they're right. So that's definitely a good way of finding some hidden gems.
Thank you. That's what I thought. So while I was doing my research, now I did a research on rookie quarterbacks. So rookie quarterbacks have struggled in week one debuts, holding a 17-35-1 record, including a 1-9 mark since 2020. I didn't even know that. And then the last time a rookie quarterback has won week one was Caleb Williams back in 2024.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, week one is always the hardest week, I think, for Survivor Pool because we just don't know. There's a lot of unknowns with rookie quarterbacks, new head coaching, new head coaches, what that system is going to look like, teams that made major overhauls. So if you're looking at a team that maybe Seattle, right? Veteran QB, but new head coach, but we don't know what that offense looks like with Sam Darnold now Cooper Kupp. So it's a whole, revamp of the offense. So that is definitely something that I'm avoiding in week one until I know what they are.
There is a couple of games that I avoid. There's another one I would tell anybody avoid because I did put it in my survival pool grid because you can actually find it on Patreon. There's another game I tell people to avoid is the Las Vegas Raiders and the New England Patriots. Now you got two new head coaches, but I don't know what the offense is gonna look like because like it'll be different if it's like in the middle of the season, but when it's like really early, you just don't want to take that risk.
Yeah, I think, and that's the thing. I think fantasy football as a whole, with DFS and daily betting, has become a game of take big shots, take big risks. But Survivor Pool really is be conservative. That's how you win a Survivor Pool. You don't win a Survivor Pool by taking these crazy shots in the dark and hope it works out. You really do have to be conservative. You really can't just go out on a whim and go, oh man, if this is it's either going to make or break you. You don't get a redo. It's not like DFS where if you lose this week, you play next week. Once you're done in Survivor Pool, you're done. So you kind of have to be conservative and you have to play what you know, not what you think.
And then the other thing is also I did this. When I played Survivor Pool, I had more than one entry because you have people like you have newcomers, like they'll play Survivor Pool and then they just have one entry. It's like if you just have one entry, then you are a fool. You're more likely not going to win your Survivor Pool like that.
Yeah, multiple entries is huge. If you can find tournaments allowed to do that, definitely take advantage of that. That's where it's at, right? And then maybe you can get cute with one of them and try some different strategies and kind of, there's going to be weeks where you're just not going to know, you're not going to feel confident. I'm fairly confident in like week one, who I think, who I would pick if I had a Survivor Pool. I think you get into week 4, 5, 6. Maybe there's some, and then you got weeks where we have a ton of teams on buys. You might be a little less confident. So multiple shots allows you to kind of hedge your bets a little bit there.
Now, there was a team that I thought that I was going to pick at first, but then as the weeks went by, that team is the Denver Broncos. And I'm seeing a lot of people in the survival pool market that actually like the Denver Broncos. But my theory is this: if a team has this higher popularity pick, I stay as far as away from it because I can find something else. But the other thing is, it's like if you don't use the Denver Broncos, let's say like you don't want to use the Denver Broncos in week 1, what else can you use them in a different week?
Yeah, I mean, so I have a couple rules for survivor pools to begin with. One, I avoid divisional matchups, which we don't have a ton this week. We obviously got one tonight. We don't have a ton of more games this week that are divisional matchups. We got Detroit, Green Bay, so I'm staying away from that.
Yes.
We got Chicago, Minnesota, staying away from that.
Correct.
Yes, if you're not going to pick Denver this week, when do you like Denver going forward is always the question. Because I think Denver is a good team. They should have, 10 plus wins. Are you taking them against Indy week 2? You're going to avoid them against the Chargers week 3. You're not going to take them against Cincinnati week 4. Not going to take them against Philly in week 5. So you're talking like the Jets week 6, Giants week 7.
Right.
And so, you have to. So when I do a survivor pool, I like to plan out my whole year. I get a whole year's worth of schedules and go, okay, this is what I'm taking this week, and kind of plan out and go, this is who I want this week based on my preseason projections and my preseason outlook. I go, this is who I want. These are my 2 backups, and make sure I don't get to a week where it's like, man, I don't like anybody. Because then it's like, my lock this week is Arizona, right? I'm all in on Arizona.
I said that.
New Orleans is such a bad team. Arizona should be comfortable. I don't expect Arizona to be like world beaters this year on offense.
Absolutely.
But this week is a winnable week, so you use them. They're out of the way. Let's face it, you have to use probably most survivor pools get to week 16, 17, 18. So you're going to have to use 15, 16, 17 teams. So you're going to have to take middling teams, and that's where Arizona is. Now, no one's ever going to pick New Orleans for a survivor pool. Let's just be real. Like, no one's ever going to be confident enough to pick them. So I'm willing to take a middling team like Arizona, who's probably the 12th best offense, maybe the 15th best offense, maybe the 20th best offense, and use them this week, save some teams. We kind of know what we got there. If it's a crazy upset, you just kind of go, everything's pointing to Arizona winning that game pretty handily.
Now, there's another one that I also been looking at, and I told people about this before the season, and actually Pool Genius actually agreed with me on this. I like the Jacksonville Jaguars over the Carolina Panthers. And it sounds crazy, but the only team you got to worry about is the Houston Texans in that division.
Yeah, I mean, Jacksonville's going to be an interesting one all season because I think people have high hopes for Trevor Lawrence. I've always been a Trevor Lawrence doubter. Obviously, they have Travis Hunter now to go along with Brian Thomas. They should be a good – everything says they should be good. Like, they brought him Liam Cohen as a head coach. They should be good. My fear is that they're just not, and they're just middle of the road. So, again, I'm not willing to go – because to me, that offense should be good offense versus an up-and-coming offense and a good defense in Carolina. So, it's like, I don't love it. I think it's an okay play. I just think week 1, I think you got to be a little more confident in going, it's a 50-50 toss-up.
And then I'm also – this is another one. This is another dilemma. It's the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, it is a divisional rivalry game, but I'm also looking at Zach Taylor's record, especially the first 2 games. Now, his record in the first 2 games are 1-10. And I remember last year when they faced against the New England Patriots and everybody picked the Bengals and everybody was so mad that the Bengals lost. And my issue is there's 2 things I worry about the Bengals. One is the offensive line and Joe Burrow, and 2 is that defense. I'm worried more about that defense.
Yeah, I mean, obviously everybody knows that Cincinnati does not have a good defense, and that's why everybody was like, hey, you have to sign Trey Hendricks, right? It's like, if you don't sign him, what are you doing? You don't have a good defense with him, let alone without him. Again, I just avoid divisional matchups across the board. Like, it doesn't sit well because they're just, especially that one, like, that's a competition where they see each other a lot. Twice a year, they're in the same state. Yeah. Again, when I look at the Browns and go, is Joe Flacco and the Browns going to be good? Possibly. So if there's a possibility that they're good and there's a possibility that Cincinnati's defense is bad, that's a sign for I guess I don't want to say upset, but that's a sign that it could go the other way. So you're saying pick the Browns. it's hard to bet against Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T Higgins in that offense, because at the end of the day they can put up 35 points, and their defense can let up as many points as they want because their offense can match it. It's a tough one to pick. I don't know. I might just stay away from that. I think I might still pick Cincinnati in that game.
Now, it'd be like, I could see it like if you play in a contest that's like a buyback, it wouldn't be a big deal.
Yeah.
Like if it's a buyback, that's one thing. But if you're playing if you're playing a survival pool without a buyback, then it's like I'm gonna have to look something else. But I can see it if somebody were doing it in a buyback contest.
Oh yeah, if you have an option where you can buy back in, or you have multiple, like again, if you have multiple entries, like maybe you roll it out there. If you've got 2-3 entries, maybe you roll that out there for one of your picks and see how it goes.
Now, there was another game I was looking at, but I'm going to avoid, and that is the Houston Texans and the Los Angeles Rams. Because from what I'm hearing, Matthew Stafford has a back injury. That really worries me. Now, if he was healthy, I would have took the LA Rams. So, like, you know what? I could save it for like a couple of weeks.
Yeah, the weird thing with Stafford is it's not really an injury. It's just an old man bad back. Like, there's not like he's got a herniated disc. It's not like he's got a strained muscle. It's just like, I'm old, I got a bad back. And I heard it somewhere, and I saw it on Reddit. It's like, who do you know that used to have a bad back? Like, they've always, like, if you have a bad back, you've got a bad back for pretty much forever. I mean, Stafford's not a young man. He's what?
Oh,
like 36 now? I'm 40? What? That is a tough matchup because I think the Rams are the better team. If he was fully healthy, Stafford's 37. If they were fully healthy and Stafford was healthy, I'd go Rams all day.
exactly.
I've been down on the Houston Texans all offseason. I think C.J. Stroud is a good quarterback, not great quarterback. I think that offense is going to struggle. Their run game's been decimated with injuries. Sounds like Christian Kirk might not play for them on offense and wide receivers. So you got Nico Collins and 2 rookies. I still lean Rams, being at home. It's an afternoon game. I think the Rams do win that game. Again, I think it's just a tough call. Again, you're right. If Stafford was healthy, I'm all over it.
Then there's another one I would tell anybody to avoid, and that is, I know CBS is doing a doubleheader. I don't know when the last time CBS has ever actually doubleheader by itself, because it's usually Fox do week 1s, but actually they're doing week 2 doubleheader.
Yeah.
The game is the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New York Jets. Now, my issue is with the Steelers is Aaron Rodgers, 42 years old.
Yep.
He's injured. This is his last season. That's the only thing I'm worried about as in this moment. And plus, we know the Jets defense. We know they can play defense, but it's that offensive their limitations. That's my issue is with the Jets. So it was like, nope, don't even worry about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem with the Jets and really the Steelers is we don't know what the limitations are. We think Justin Fields is good, right? Everyone wants him to be good. Is he actually good? Is that offense going to be able to, like, they just lost Elijah Vera Tucker, one of their offensive linemen, to season-ending injury. So, like, does that affect protection for Justin Fields? If Justin Fields is what we thought Justin Fields was and he comes out and he's amazing, the Jets probably win that game, right? Because he is a dynamic player when he is on. The problem is he's been so hit or miss. And I just don't know. And right with the Steelers, it's Aaron Rodgers, and that's the question.
Exactly. You're like, what?
Is Aaron Rodgers good? Like, is Aaron Rodgers still good enough to win you a game? I'm not sure he was based on last year. And then wide receiver wise, you've got one guy and that's it. So,
right.
Yeah, it's a tough matchup, right? And then you got the whole, as much as you don't want to go down narrative street, you got the revenge game aspect for both Fields and Rodgers. Is Jalen Warren a compliment? Starting running back for the Steelers? Does Caleb Johnson get work? Again, anytime when I start asking questions like that of, is this guy good? Is this going to be the offense? That's where I'm like, wait, that's where I like Arizona, because it's like the question is what's the split between James Conner and Trey Benson? It's not, are they good? It's like, what's the split going to be? It also is how bad is New Orleans, right? Like,
exactly. I mean, at least they got a quarterback they drafted. You know what I mean? Because I know this upcoming NFL draft is not going to be a lot of quarterbacks unless you're talking Archie Manning.
Well, yeah, and I think Manning is going to stay another year. So, right, we're starting New Orleans, even starting Tyler Shuck. They're starting Spencer Rattler, who I liked, but again, hasn't shown anything. So the questions are, is Spencer Rattler any good? The question is does Alvin Kamara have anything left? The question is Chris Olave, is he going to stay healthy? There's just so many bad question marks on the New Orleans side, and there's just, I don't say positive question marks, but like good problems to have. Like, oh, what's the split going to be between Connor and Trey Benson? That's a good question to ask. You know,
Right.
Oh, is Kyler Murray going to run the ball a ton? Well, if he doesn't, he's still capable of throwing 300 yards. You know, how many, is Trey McBride going to score a touchdown this year? He only scored one last year, probably. I mean, is Trey McBride going to get, the 100 and some, what do you have last year? 147 targets again this year? Probably. So it's like, is he going to do more than that? That's a good question to ask.
Right. And there was another one that I wanted to pick, but I was like, no, man, I can't do that. But the Miami Dolphins and the Indianapolis Colts, because the Colts used to be in the AFC East before they were in the South. So just in case the younger generation don't know that.
They don't know that.
That's how old I am. But this is week 1. The game's in Indianapolis, and I know this is going to be like a kind of like a homecoming game because their owner, Jim Irsay, passed away.
Yep.
So it's kind of, and then you also got to think about the Miami Dolphins situation because for rumors it's like they don't agree with the head coaching decision. It's just like it's all chaos. And then you also got to look at Tua because there are times Tua can play, and there's Tua be like, wait a sec, you played good in week 1, but what happened with the other weeks? And I'm very iffy on the Colts because the last week I played last year, they almost lost to Jacksonville last year.
Yeah.
In overtime, but they barely beat them in overtime.
No, the Colts are super duper frustrating because they have potential. Like, they have really solid, good players. They have, the pieces there to be a really good team, especially in a division that's very winnable with just them and the Texans and maybe the like, and that's when you're like Jaguars, Colts, Texans, like they're all kind of the same. So it's a very winnable division for them. They just can't seem to put 2 and 2 together. Again, question mark of, is Daniel Jones actually good? Like, he got cut by the Giants last year. Like, the Giants were lighting the world on fire. They were not doing great either. So,
right.
Is he Sam Darnold from last year where he goes to a new team and all of a sudden is really good? Probably not. So, again, I don't want to. No one's playing Survivor Pool for fun, right? Most of them have some sort of money involved. There's some sort of pot at the end. I'm not risking my money on Sam Darnold until I know.
Exactly.
I don't want to put my money on Sam Darnold Daniel Jones and go, all right, Daniel Jones, win me. Right. And usually Survivor Pools are big pots. That's the whole point of them, right? It's hundreds, thousands of people in there, and it's a $20 entry fee. I played one that was $20, and I think the winning prize was like $2,000 because there was a couple hundred people in it. Well, I'm not risking $2,000 on Daniel Jones. I'm just not. That's not where that's not a good bet for me.
This ain't Circa Sports Survivor Pool. Let's just say that.
Yeah, right. Even if I have multiple entries, even if it's a $5, even if it's a fun Survivor Pool, I want to be in there longer than week 1. I just don't want to. I don't want to stress that all weekend, knowing that I put my life in the pool on Daniel Jones or Tua, right? Because the Dolphins, Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Devin Achane should be really good. They just haven't been. Like, that should be a good team. They're very disappointing. That should be a good team. That should be a team that you go, yes, is going to go out there and put up 35 points a game or 28 points a game. That's what they should do. The problem is they just don't. And the way I look at it is if my process leads me to, right, picking Arizona. If Arizona loses, I go, okay, well, at least I had a good process, luck of the game, any given Sunday. If I lose betting on the Dolphins or betting on the Colts or betting on any of those iffy teams, and I lose, I'm going to go, man, I should have known better. And I don't want to be kicking myself for the next week, 2 weeks, however it is, when I'm not in the Survivor Pool and when I'm going, man, I should have known better. I shouldn't have been. Don't get cute. I was talking to some about, sit start lineups this week just for regular fantasy football. Don't get cute this week. We don't know. There's so many unknowns. We go last year, this team, this defense. We just don't know because everything changes. Start your studs. Start what you know. Start the predictability. This is not the week to get crazy and cute. This is the week to just go, okay, this is what Vegas is telling me based on the odds and the money line and implied totals. Just go with that. Don't get cute this week. There's just no reason for it.
And that's why as soon as I learned about the survivor pool, that's when I started ignoring about the lines, because like the lines are just a distraction. All you just gotta pay attention to the news of what's the injuries and stuff. Yep. That's what I more focus on.
No, I agree. I mean, I look at implied totals, right? So if the over under is 45 points, and a team's projected to win by they're getting +7. Okay, well that means that they're implied to get more than half the total, right? Like that's how I look at it. Okay, man, they're expected to score 30 points. The other team's expected to score 20. Okay, cool, I got it. I can go that way, and I'm okay with that.
Now is there a team like because in a couple of minutes we're about to start the 2025 NFL season. Now, is there a team in survival pool that we need to pay attention to as of right now?
I would say I'm keeping an eye on the New England Patriots. I think they're a up-and-coming team. I think they have pieces in place. I really like Drake May. I really like Travion Henderson. I think Ramondre Stevenson is two good running backs. The receivers are worst case scenario really bad. Best case scenario, they're actually pretty good. Stephon Diggs, Demario Douglas, Kyle Williams, Keyshawn Butte can be really good. Hunter Henry at tight ends. They can be a sneaky good team coming down the stretch. Vegas this week, toss-up. Miami, divisional matchup, out against that. Pittsburgh, week 3, could be the one where if Pittsburgh comes out the first 2 weeks and it's pretty bad, then it's like, okay, maybe I pick New England. Then I always like to look later in the season. Week 13 against the Giants, probably pick Patriots there no matter what. Week 14, they're on a bye. 15's Buffalo, so I'm avoiding that. 16's Baltimore, probably avoiding that. Week 17, it's the Jets. Now, a divisional matchup, which I generally avoid, but late in the season, you might not be able to. I kind of like the Jets. I kind of like New England against the Jets. And then week 18, it's Miami. So I'm not loving them later in the season, so I'm trying to get them through maybe earlier in the season, maybe in that week 9. They've got Cleveland week 8. They got Tennessee week 7, Cleveland week 8, Atlanta week 9. If I can use if New England is trending the right way and things are clicking, that's where I like them. Bye weeks are going to be big this year, I think, because there's going to be weeks where we're just going to be tough with bye weeks.
Yep, because I do have the survival pool grid. So week 4 they play Carolina. That's a home game. Then they got to go to at New Orleans at week 6, and then they got to go to Tennessee at week 7. Yeah. Cleveland week 8. Then they got the Jets week 11. So it's kind of like depending on what your survival pool look like if you want to use New England.
Yeah. And that's why I say, like, plan it out, right? Because if you're gonna theoretically be there all year, you're gonna pick 18 teams. At some point, you're gonna pick the 18th best team in the league. That's below half. That's a subpar team. So where do you find your spots to pick them? And I think that's right where New England is. That's why I like Arizona this week, because I think Arizona's in that range. Like, where are you picking those teams that are just so, and finding a spot to pick them in is really, I think, the key to survivor pools.
Right. So, like I said, if it's buyback, it's a risk. Hey, I'll take it. But if it's not a buyback, it's like, and plus you also got to look at like this, like depending on how big your survivor pool, it changes the way you pick teams dramatically. Because when I won my league, I think it was about 100 people. That was the first time I played survivor pool. It was like 100 people. Because usually when people play survivor pool, they play like 5, 10, 20 people. Yeah. But the contest I was in, it was like 100 people.
Yeah. If you get one of those big ones, it's definitely risky. So this is what I say. I plan out my whole year, and then each week I look at the slate and go, what winners am I picking right away? So I went this week and go, Philly, Dallas. Probably Philly. Kansas City Chargers. I go, probably Kansas City. Tampa Bay, Atlanta, toss-up. Cleveland, Cincinnati, toss-up. Miami, Indianapolis, toss-up. Carolina, Jacksonville, toss-up. Vegas, New England, toss-up. Arizona, New Orleans, I'm like, Arizona instantly. Assuming I can look at a matchup and go, it's this team right away, that's when I'm like, okay, that's a survivor pick, because that's a team telling me that based on what I know and what I've researched and what I've seen, that's an easy win. I don't need to go, well, maybe.
Exactly. I'm the same way.
I know they're going to, I'm confident in that pick. And then I go in and look at it. Okay, what's Vegas telling me? What's the thing? Like, go off your gut right away and do that with every game. You go, okay, zoom, zoom, zoom. These are the ones, these are the 2, 3, 4 games that I was like, man, instantly I looked at it and go, this team's winning. And then go look at what Vegas is saying. Look at the news, right? If it came out that Kyler Murray was injured, I'm not taking Arizona. Like, There's a big difference. If this is week 7 and Trey McBride's banged up and Kyler Murray's missed a couple of days of practice, right? A lot like the Rams. I looked at the Rams matchup and go, Rams win, right? Rams should be Houston. That should just be an easy win. But Stafford's banged up. It's like, and then you get into like, okay, maybe there's a little more to it. But I think that's how you start. You just go, what are the 2 or 3, 4 games that I instantly go, yep, that's a winner. That's a winner, not these toss-up matchups. I couldn't tell you who's going to win tonight. I think it's Philadelphia's going to win tonight against Dallas. I wouldn't be shocked if Dallas won.
Oh man, that would be a bracket bust if somebody picked Philadelphia, and I want to see how many entries was in that if it does happen.
Yeah, but like if we wake up tomorrow and Dallas won, I'm not gonna be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they beat. It's just
exactly.
You just go, okay, yeah, that's believable. It's a believable win. It's not like, oh my gosh, this great upset. And that's what I'm trying to avoid. I'm trying to avoid those games where like, oh my gosh, this is a massive upset. I can't believe this happened.
As a matter of fact, that reminds me of Florida State beating Alabama, kind of something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those games where you're like, no one saw that coming. Right? And so like no one's getting cute. No one's picking Dallas in their survivor pool this week, right? It's just not gonna happen. You're not betting against the Eagles. And anybody that does, and they happen to win, it's all luck. Like no one is going, yes, I'm confident the Cowboys are good. Cowboys fans aren't picking the Cowboys, right? So it's just it's one of those things, but it's not an unbelievable upset if it happens. It's improbable, but it's not like unbelievable. I think New Orleans beating Arizona is highly unlikely, and that'd be a surprise.
And I'll be like this.
Yeah. Right, if that happens, you're like, oh my gosh, was I completely wrong about Spencer Rattler?
Yeah, then I have to get in the bed, be like, what the hell just happened?
Well, it happened last year, right? That was the Saints last year. They came out the first 2 weeks and looked amazing. And everybody's like, wait, are the Saints good? And then they turned into the Saints that we know and love that are just horrible. So it's not, right? That's why they say any given Sunday, anything can happen. But if Arizona plays the New Orleans Saints 10 weeks in a row, nine of those times, Arizona's going to win. Dallas plays Philly 10 weeks in a row. It's probably going to be 5-5, right? Or 6-4. It's going to be a lot closer. And that's what I don't want to pick those games. I want to pick the games where I'm like, okay, this team's going to win 8 times out of 10.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Dustin Ludke on the program. Now, where can my listeners find you on social media and your articles?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at the DUnit13. All my articles are over at the Fantasy Sports Advice Network, FSAN.com. That's where you can find all of our weekly stuff. I'm the editor-in-chief over there, so I edit all of our weekly sit starts. We'll have seat starts, waiver wires. We're doing a fluke or future, so anytime there's this abnormal performance, we'll have a guy write up an article on that, kind of whether you can bank on that or not. But that's where you can find everything. Hit me up on Twitter. I'm always there to answer questions. And then the Fantasy Advice Network, so FSAN.com.
All right. Thank you very much. Hey, matter of fact, I should have you on later on this year, probably around like the end of the Survivor Pool.
Yeah, hit me up.
Like
let me know.
November-ish.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. Thank you. And you have a nice night.
You too.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Dustin Ludke to the program. So if you're just joining